Imagine preparing for an exam so merciless that failing it could disgrace your family, passing it could transform your life, and attempting it could kill you. An exam where students starved, went blind, hallucinated, or died in their tiny test cells. And yet, millions of young scholars willingly chose this path, because in ancient China, the imperial exam wasn't just a test, it was destiny. For a student in Imperial China, preparation didn't begin with ambition, it began with obligation. From the moment a boy showed the slightest promise, sharp memory, quick learning, or simply a father determined to elevate the family, his childhood ended. At age 4 or 5, he was handed his first Confucian primer. Some families made their children memorize the 3-character classic before they could even write their name. Others forced recitation by tying a thread from the child's ear to the ceiling. If he nodded off, the sting woke him instantly. Parents believed pain built virtue. By age 7, the child was expected to recite lines of the Analects, Mencius, and classical poetry flawlessly. A single mispronunciation meant hours starting over. Many children cried while reciting. Teachers ignored it. They believed tears washed away laziness. Study hours stretched from dawn to dusk. Writing drills filled any spare moment. Students practiced characters by copying them thousands of times, sometimes using sand on the ground when paper was too expensive. If handwriting was sloppy, teachers struck them on the knuckles with bamboo rods. But writing wasn't the hardest part. Remembering was the problem. As the boy grew, memorization turned into a kind of mental warfare. Families expected entire books to be stored in the mind, line for line, character for character, punctuation for punctuation. Some students woke at midnight to read by candlelight because their fathers insisted the mind was purest after dreaming. Others studied late into the night, their candles burning so low that wax pooled on their hands. By their teenage years, the brightest scholars recited tens of thousands of characters each morning just to warm up their memory. But the classics weren't the only punishment waiting for them. Inside the elite academies, students were introduced to a nightmare, the 8-legged essay, the ultimate intellectual trap. Its structure was rigid, unforgiving, and judged with microscopic scrutiny. One misplaced argument, one awkward metaphor, one line of reasoning that drifted even slightly from orthodoxy, and the examiner wouldn't just fail you, he might laugh at you. Students drilled the essay so relentlessly that some could write one while half asleep. But what truly terrified them was the fear of not writing one perfectly, and that fear defined their entire existence. As the exam approached, discipline intensified. Many students voluntarily entered self-imposed isolation. They lived in cramped study huts, bare rooms with no heat, no comfort, and almost no sound except the constant whisper of brushing ink. Meals were simple: cold rice, pickled vegetables, and weak tea. Tutors discouraged flavorful food, saying it distracted the mind. Parents inspected their children like soldiers. Idle hands punished, idle thoughts corrected, idle time unacceptable. Some families hung moral maxims above study desks. A day without study is a day without virtue. Success washes away suffering. Failure is a stain on the ancestors. Psychological pressure built slowly, like water dripping on stone. Students grew ill from anxiety. Sleep was shallow. Dreams were filled with lines of Confucius. Some woke in panic, thinking they forgot a passage. The weight of expectation could crush even the strongest. And then came the mock exams, the rehearsal for survival. Candidates were sealed inside practice rooms for up to 72 hours, eating only what they brought with them. The room contained nothing but a desk, a straw mat, ink, paper, and a bucket for waste. The stench lingered for days after. Some students fainted from exhaustion. Others wrote until their fingers cramped so tightly they needed help to pry their hands open. One famous scholar, Wu Jingzi, described mock exams as a battlefield where one's enemy is despair. But even these brutal rehearsals couldn't prepare them for the real imperial exam. The examination compound loomed like a fortress, surrounded by high walls and heavily armed guards. Every candidate was searched. Clothing seams were inspected. Book covers were ripped open. Scrolls unrolled. Even calligraphy brushes were checked in case someone had hidden answers inside the hollow tube. Cheating wasn't just a failure. It was a crime punishable by exile or death. Each candidate entered carrying their life on their back. Food for days, inkstones, brushes, bedding, a chamber pot, spare clothing, lucky charms, and occasionally medicines to stay awake. but nothing prepared them for the exam cell. The exam cell was barely wider than a coffin and only slightly taller. Students could sit or squat, but rarely stretch their legs. In winter, freezing winds blew through the cracks. In summer, heat turned the cell into an oven. Some students fainted from heat stroke. Some didn't wake up. If a candidate died, guards simply removed the body and closed the cell. The exam continued. Inside the cramped darkness, students wrote until their eyes blurred. They ate cold rice between paragraphs. They relieved themselves inches away from their manuscripts. Their backs ached, their legs went numb, and hunger gnawed at their stomachs. But quitting was worse than dying. Small distractions could destroy a future. Ink spills ruined essays. Shaking hands ruined calligraphy. A single misquoted line might erase 10 years of training. Students often rewrote entire pages by hand, terrified of unclear strokes. A tear in the paper meant starting over. Some candidates relied on stimulants, strong tea, powdered ginseng, or even opium to stay awake. Others prayed silently to ancestors. And some simply broke down, weeping quietly so the guards wouldn't hear their despair. Stories tell of candidates who panicked when they realized they had misunderstood a question and took their own lives inside the exam hall, choosing death over humiliation. And yet, unbelievably, this was considered normal. Even success brought little rest. Passing the local exam only qualified you to attempt the provincial exam. Passing the provincial exam qualified you for the metropolitan exam in the capital. And passing that finally granted the ultimate prize, a degree that opened the gates to government service, wealth, respect, and power. Millions of students tried. Most failed. Some tried for 20, 30, even 40 years. Many died trying. And the few who succeeded became the ruling scholars who shaped China's destiny.